Well, good evening, Arizona. Thanks for joining Your News Arizona. I'm Jonathan Alexander reporting. So, I've been gone for a while, guys, and it's good to be back. And got a lot of things in the works right now. I'm going to be back down on the U.S. Mexico border this coming Friday. I'm going to be there with Russ Clark from 560 KBLU radio. We're going to be covering the military being down there on the border right now. And we're also going to be covering about the border checkpoints being wide open. Hope you guys can tune in for that. So put that on your calendar if you want. And we'll be broadcasting probably around 1 p.m. on Friday. I'll try to keep you guys updated with the time, and we'll take it from there. So had a had a long trip out to Minnesota, and I gotta say, what a beautiful state. I can also say it's a place I would never live. Just way too humid for me and too much rain. I guess I've been kind of spoiled here in Arizona. And besides that, I'm starting to lose my suntan. But either way, I'm back and just got a lot of things in the works right now. So one of the things I want to keep you guys informed on is just, you know, how they keep talking about our borders are secure. And this is why we are exposing it. When we got border checkpoints that are wide open, where people need to be checked, these semis traveling through need to be checked. People with cars and vans, the amount of human smuggling, drug trafficking we got going on, there's no excuse for these borders not to be manned, especially with the amount of resources that we have right now for the borders. And they're saying now that Trump's wall will be complete by the end of his term. So it's supposed to be all the way complete. And, let's just pray to God, and I'm going to say it. Pray to God that Democrats don't take control again. Because if they do, I'm afraid we're going to start seeing that wall dismantled, just like we did when the Biden administration was in office. And I'm not here to tell you guys who to vote for politics, or if you want to be a Republican, Democrat, or whatever you want to be. That's up to you guys. But for me, I don't want to get involved in the politic part. I'm all about God, family, and country, as it should be. And that's the problem with this country right now. We are so greatly divided on both sides of the aisle. Even the families are so divided. I mean, every time you turn around and look, we got families that can't even sit down together for family dinners or get togethers without bickering with one another over politics and about who's right and who's wrong. You know, what it should come down to is the safety of our families, the safety of our children, the safety of this country. And whether you love Donald Trump or hate him, he has done a good job, in my opinion, with the borders, with what he has left with under the Biden administration. I mean, you look at what Joe Biden did by cutting those big sections out of the border wall. And as you guys have seen my reports over the years, you know, hundreds of thousands of illegals pouring through the borders said it all. And again, keep that in mind during election time. Vote your conscience. Vote for who you think is going to get the job done. And, you know, I'm at a point right now that I'm so fed up with all the politics, with all the bickering, and people making fun of one another because of who they are. This should be uniting together, finding a way to come together, folks. We've got to come together and get this country 100% in order. And it's going to take each and every one of us to make this happen. And that's on both sides of the aisle. So whether you guys like what I'm saying or not, that's on you. But, I'm always going to call black, black, white, white. I'm going to call it like it is. I don't have time for racism or politics or any of the other crap behind it. You know, I keep hearing all this Black Lives Matter. How about all lives matter? You know, we're all human beings, folks. Same thing with politics. We're all human beings. Let's come together and make things happen. So I'm really out of my element right now. I haven't been broadcasting for almost 3 months, or a little over 3 months actually. And again, it's good to be back. For those of you folks out there in Nevada, you guys have got to get Lieutenant Colonel David Flippo in the office. David is going to make a difference for all of Nevada. For Arizona, for the Tucson area out there, you guys have got to get Daniel Gutierrez in the office. We got to get Grijalva's daughter, Adelita Grijalva, out of office. She's all about keeping these borders wide open and hurting Arizona. She's not putting the people first. And even her Democrat Party has seen enough that they're starting to side with Daniel Gutierrez. So for those of you out there in the Democrat Party, do a little research on Daniel Gutierrez. Go to his campaign, check it out. You're going to find out that Dan is for everybody. He wants to work with everybody. And Daniel Gutierrez has been on the borders with me many times, as well as Lieutenant Colonel David Flippo has been on the borders with me many times. And both of these guys are fighters. They care about this country. And that's exactly what we need in office. And so I'm just telling you guys, I'm not telling you who to vote for. Research these guys, check them out. And I think you're going to find that these guys are the right guys to get the job done. I want to discuss a little bit about some stuff that happened out in Minneapolis. My beautiful girlfriend, she had several people kind of attack me. I don't know if any of you guys have been questioned about it, but they claim that I didn't have a news channel. Well, I'm on Q Broadcast, Channel 24. And for those of you guys that haven't checked out Q Broadcast, they are, I'm going to put up a link for you. So for Q Broadcast, for unlimited television, for $69.99 a month, you get all your channels: HBO, Showtime, Cinemax, Stars, Encore, pay-per-views, you name it, you get it for one low price without a contract. This is a 100% Patriot-owned company that is all about the people. And Q Broadcast stands for Communication Unites Everyone. Gotta love the title. So I'm going to go ahead and put this link up here for you guys, and I hope you guys can check it out. So up in I believe on your guys' right-hand corner, I put up Q Broadcast. If you scan the QR code there, you guys can sign up for Q Broadcast and watch Your News Arizona on Channel 24, which is where we're live broadcasting right now, plus what's going over to YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and X. But anyways, you guys can check out Q Broadcast. You won't be disappointed. So back to what I was trying to say. I had some people attacking my lady, acting like I'm a fake, acting like I don't have a news channel, acting like I've never been shot at, acting like I've never been on the border, you name it. I'm going to be professional about this, not mention names. I'm just going to leave it at that. And, for those of you out there that were attacking me over this, shame on you. Anytime you guys want to make a trip down to our effing border, give me a call. My studio number is 928-385-4738, and I'll be more than happy to take you on a tour down to the border. And if you guys happen to be around, we got a tour coming up this Friday, and we'll be making that trip down there. So if you guys want to come on down here and make a trip with me, I'd be happy to show you what's real and what's fake. So anyhow, enough about all this. I've just been tired of being attacked over it and having people acting like I'm nothing but a fake. So back to the Arizona stuff, guys. We have got to get the right person in for governor as well. And I'm telling you guys, Governor Hobbs doesn't care about Arizona. She is not doing anything for our borders. And we've got to get this woman out of office. I'm begging and pleading for you guys to get off your butts and get out and vote. This is vital. This is vital for the state, for our state. It's also vital for the safety of America. You know, when you got illegals pouring through, you got cartel coming through our borders, you got enough fentanyl coming through to kill every last man, woman, and child here in America. That says it all, folks. Right there. You know, if, and I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. If you're a Democrat and you think Governor Hobbs is just the greatest lady, shame on you guys. You look at the millions of illegals poured through our borders right here, just in Arizona alone. Since when do you guys not care about your children, your wives, and the safety of this country? How many Americans have to die from fentanyl before you finally go, oh my God, what does it take for it to hit your families, for it to hit your home, for you to see people die? Think about it, folks. Now's the time to make change for Arizona. And again, I'm begging and pleading for you guys to vote the right person into office. And, you know, personally, I think Andy Biggs is the man for the job. He's got my support and my vote. Research Andy Biggs. Check him out. Again, I'm not here to tell you who to vote for, but check him out. The man's straight up and honest. That's all I can say about Andy Biggs. And he is a fighter who will get the job done. So anyways, you know, it was a long trip out to Minnesota. I want to get back to that a little bit. So I swore to God I was never going to fly again. Here I'm on a flight. Okay, I get out to Minnesota. I probably almost squeezed my lady's hand off because it was my first time flying in years. And I was very nervous about getting on board that flight. Well, here a month later, I'm taking the flight back alone and didn't have her to hold her hand. Not that I'm a coward or a big sissy, but I'll say it like it is. So here I'm on the flight coming back. We were scheduled, I think, to land in Las Vegas at 6:10 p.m. Our flight was over 30 minutes delayed in the air. We had a severe storm come in as we're flying. The pilot comes on air, says, ladies and gentlemen, you need to fasten your seatbelts. We have storms approaching us on both sides of the plane. Never heard such a broadcast on a flight. And he goes, and then the pilot proceeds to say, and we're getting ready to fly into a severe thunderstorm. Well, boy, I'm already jumping up and down for joy, as you can imagine. So to make a long story short, about 10 minutes later, I'm watching lightning on both sides of the plane, just going everywhere. What appeared to actually strike the plane, our plane was shaking all to hell. I saw some people actually praying, you know, for our flight to land safely. About 30 minutes later, after we went around the storm as much as we could, the flight finally landed in Las Vegas. Coming in for landing, the plane was like this, kind of going back and forth, which I'm thinking was probably the crosswinds coming through. And the plane had a pretty rough hit coming in. And all I could think of was, thank you, Jesus. Thank you for getting me home. So, as you can imagine, I'm not too excited about jumping on another plane. I just had to share the story with you guys. It was quite the flight. And so, anyways, I'm walking back through the terminals, going to get my luggage. And here's some people, nice old couple walking towards, walking right beside me. And the lady turns around and says to her husband, "You know what? I think we're going to fly back to Minnesota. I mean, we're going to get a car rental and drive home instead of flying back to Minnesota." And I turned around and I looked at him. I said, the flight was that bad, huh? She goes, "It makes me really leery about getting on another plane." And and then keep in mind, right before my flight, here's here's the you know Boeing's crashing with the military guys. Here's another Boeing that had problems. I'm already sitting there nervous about even getting on this damn plane. and but by the grace of God, here I am, folks. And I think I saw a couple comments here coming across. So give me a second here. Let's see. Anna Townsend, Hobbs is owned by the cartel. Facts. Well, Anna, you're 100% correct. I do believe that's why we call her here in Arizona Cartel Hobbs. Um, and let's see. Anna Townsend, Jonathan Alexander has been broadcasting and has been to the border patrolling for years. All the people saying this man is fake are foolish. Well, thank you, Anna, and thank you for always following me and doing on my broadcast. Ronnie Townsend, hey brother, good to see you joining in. Good to see you, buddy. And that's Anna Townsend's husband, Ronnie. I appreciate you guys tuning into my broadcast here tonight. So, anyways, guys, I'm going to be keeping this broadcast here fairly short. Just want you guys to know I'm back. I'm going to be live on the border this Friday. Again, I'm going to be with Russ Clark, 560 AM radio, KBLU, out of Yuma. And we're going to be getting this out there and what's happening on our borders. And we're going to stop back in and re-see the military troops that's on the border, which I've shared with you guys in the past. Russ Clark was just there, and he's seen that military was actually there as well. So we're going to stop and see the troops, and we're going to stop in on the border checkpoint. And I'm just going to ask you guys, we get there, that checkpoint is unmanned again, which I believe it's going to be. Please share it everywhere because we are calling out everybody that we can reach out to and demand for that border checkpoint to be occupied. We can't just be allowing people just to flow through our borders and drive on through. That's a major highway, Highway 95, which has the checkpoint, and this is the border checkpoint that's unmanned. And you've got a lot of semis and cars and RVs that travel that. Anybody could have an RV or semi full of drugs right now or human trafficking, and there's nobody there at that checkpoint to even scan the vehicle and or whatever they got to do and put a stop to it. So again, Trump has done a good job with our borders in so many ways, but when it comes to our checkpoints, they got to do a better job. They got to get that checkpoint secured, and that's mandatory. And if you're out there, Tom Holman, get your border patrol agents to get on the ball and get the job done. Get that checkpoint manned up. So, I'm also going to be stopping in on the Britton farm. Going to be heading over there to see my good friend uh, Jim Britton. I mean Bill Britton. Sorry about that. Going to stop in and see him. Then I'm going to be stopping in at the Tucson ranch and seeing Jim Chilton Ranch. And that's where we broadcast live from both of those ranches as well. And for those of you guys that haven't followed about the Jim Chilton Ranch, we're the ones that have the thousands of hours of the cartel flowing through his ranch. You can search my Facebook and YouTube channels and see the live feed that I had from my security surveillance cameras that showed the cartel constantly going through the checkpoints. And just again, also I've got some cameras left there at the Chilton Ranch I want to pick up and see how much more traffic has been going through there since the Trump administration. So those cameras have been out there for quite some time now, and we'll see what there is for footage or whether that's stopped or still ongoing. Um, I'm kind of hoarse, guys, and been just, again, a lot going on. And so keep me and my team in your thoughts and prayers for this weekend coming up. And we'll be, again, broadcasting live from Yuma Sector out of Yuma, Arizona. We're also going to be right there on the border in right by I think it's Nogales. But anyways, we're going to be all over this weekend. So hope you guys can tune into our broadcast. For those of you that's going to be out there celebrating the 4th of July, be safe, stay alert, and, you know, keep in mind this is the 250th anniversary for this country. And not to put a scare in people's 4th of July, but I'm expecting some, chaos to happen. And so many times I've been right with my gut feelings. I'm just asking you guys to please just watch over your family, loved ones, and your children over this holiday weekend coming up. And just remember why you're celebrating the 4th of July. This country was founded on blood, sweat, and tears. And a lot of men that love this country. So, so just keep that in your mind as well. All the men who fought and died for this country to make this country the land of the free, home of the brave. And that's what it's going to take to keep this country rolling, folks. It's going to take good men that's going to be willing to fight for this country. And again, in my opinion, the war's here. We got the war with the cartel. And that's why the troops are still on the border, by the way. And and we're going to try to get you some extra intel from the border, from the military, and see what they are willing to let me share and not share. But we will be down there live with them. So, all right, guys. Other than that, I want to make sure there's no other questions. If you guys got any questions or comments, feel free to call into the studio, 928-385-4738. Love to hear from you guys out there. And let me know what you're doing for your 4th of July weekend. Like usual, I'm going to be out in the field. So, other than that, I want to see if I got this other thing to share with. Oh, want to definitely mention my good friends over at Loaded Gun Coffee, Stephen and Terry Thomas. And I'm going to put their QR code up right here for you guys. So for every purchase of coffee, Loaded Gun Coffee donates a small portion over to Your News Arizona. And so appreciate you guys, Steve and Terry. Thank you for all your support. So there's the link. And you guys just want to make sure you reference it when you're making your order. Your News AZ JTA. As long as you mention that on your purchase, they'll donate a small portion over to Your News Arizona to help cover some of our expenses for all the border coverage we've been doing. So, again, Steve, Terry, love you guys. I'll stop in over in Havasu to see you guys on my way through. So, hope you guys can tune in for that. So, all right, guys, just wanted to make this announcement tonight that I'm back and we'll be live from the border on Friday. So, hope you guys can tune in. And again, keep me and my team in your thoughts and prayers. And God bless all of you guys. And hope you guys all have a wonderful 4th of July weekend coming up. This is Jonathan Alexander reporting live with Your News Arizona. Good night, folks.